guys, Ryan with Motorcycle.com, finally getting a chance to throw a leg over Ducati's new DesertX adventure bike. I think Ducati debuted this bike at EICMA 2019 as kind of a concept, and at the time everyone was thinking it's going to be a Scrambler variant, you know, something like a step in the adventure direction from the Desert Sled. And what we actually have now with the production model is a completely different machine. This is a proper middleweight adventure bike from Ducati, and it's something they like to hammer home is it's their first 21-inch, 18-inch wheel combo. So this is a proper, you know, they've set it up as a proper adventure bike, and they want to compete in that category. And we'll get to it, whether or not they've done that here in a minute. So let's just take a quick look from the ground up. We already covered the 21-inch, 18-inch wheels. They are cross-spoked, so you have tubeless tires. You've got the Pirelli Scorpion Rally STR rubber on there, which is a road bias tire, but it does pretty good off-road as well. Coming up from that, braking is fantastic. You've got Brembo brakes all around. M50s in the front, which have always been great. They continue to be so on this bike. They give you a lot of feel. So then moving into the suspension, you're going to have KYB units, both front and rear. It's a 46 mil fork, and that's going to give you about 9 inches of travel up front. And that unit is fully adjustable, as is the rear, which you're going to have about 8.5 inches of travel. That's giving you almost 10 inches of ground clearance. So pretty substantial suspension travel and ground clearance out of this bike. Definitely, you know, puts it on par with other machines out there. Then kind of getting into the beating heart of the thing, you know, the motor, it's the 937cc engine that we've seen in the Multistrada V2, as well as the Monster and the Hyper Motard. This one has been changed a little bit. Gearing has been shortened from the Multistrada V2 quite a bit, especially in the first couple gears, but shortened kind of overall. But 6 is still going to give you, you know, plenty of kind of overdrive for highway droning and whatnot. You've got a 5.5 gallon tank, plenty of fuel to get you down the road a ways. And then you get a lot of Ducati technology with this motorcycle. So rather than coming from, like, if it would have been a Scrambler variant, it probably would have been a more simple kind of setup. With this, you get the kind of technology you would expect from any other Ducati. You have 6 riding modes. You've got a sport, touring, wet, enduro, rally, and urban. Within those modes, you can go in and change all sorts of things, from the throttle response, the power, engine braking, traction control, ABS. All of these things can be changed within those ride modes. And when you turn off the bike, they will basically stay the way you change them. So that's also a really nice feature. Today, we spent a lot of our time off-road. At the same time, we got to, you know, connect that off-road with some really great twisty sections of pavement. It was a blast. Ducati has claimed that this bike is about like 500 pounds, just under that curb weight. And it does feel a little heavier than other middleweight adventure bikes in the category. And some of those other middleweight adventure bikes do a really good job of carrying their weight, and some are, you know, 40 pounds less. So you have that, but at the same time, we were on a lot of kind of loose gravel stuff, a lot of tight switchbacks, things that, you know, you're gonna have this motorcycle moving around, and it maintains its composure really well. And once we got into a section that had some more kind of bigger rocks, we were going a little faster and whatnot, it kind of hammered through there with composure that totally surprised me, even after riding the bike for half a day in the loose stuff and dealing with sliding around and rolling on the throttle. The way the engine makes power, it is always accelerating forward with the kind of the torque that you'd expect from this type of engine, but it also is very smooth in the way it delivers that. So you can kind of just hammer through this stuff, and while you're sliding around, it's very controlled. Whether you're sliding on the brakes, even if you push the front, it doesn't automatically go out on you. You know, it's not this big oh shit moment. You know, it maintains its composure really well. And I think Ducati's probably done a really good job with their own marketing with some of the videos. If you've been interested in this bike and you've been following it, that you might have seen of, you know, guys hucking this thing over tabletops and smashing through dunes. It does an amazing job off-road, for sure. But I think maybe one thing that hasn't been translated as much by Ducati in their marketing is, I mentioned the other bikes that this motor is in, and you get that feel of power once you get up past like 6,500 RPM. I think Ducati claims 110 horsepower at like 9,250 and 68 pound-feet of torque at 6,500. So once you get kind of into that 6,500 RPM range and start revving it out past that towards the 10,000 RPM red line, reminds you where the sporting heritage of the brand and the other motorcycles that this engine has already been placed in. So it's actually a real ripper on the street. And you know, people always think, oh, it's got a 21-inch wheel. I'm worried about how quick it steers, and it's absolutely not a problem. The brakes are fantastic. The suspension is really nice and I would say like sport tuned. Ducati set it up for us, so they made sure we had enough preload and everything for our weight ahead of time, and I had some adjustments along the way too, added a little bit more preload. But this is an excellent sporting motorcycle too, so you're gonna have a great time whether you're ripping through canyons on this or if you're blasting down rocky Jeep roads and whatnot. I'm looking forward to kind of hopefully getting hold of one of these for a little bit more of a long-term test and doing some different kind of terrain and different speeds, and you know, probably have some of our other editors weigh in on their experiences as well. But I think Ducati definitely came correct with their first real foray into like proper adventure bike riding. This is a motorcycle that was built from the ground up to be an adventure motorcycle, an off-road motorcycle. And so it's not like, you know, taking the Multistrada, which is an incredible street bike and can hustle in the dirt pretty good too, and then kind of tweaking it to make it an off-road bike. This is a proper off-road machine, and that's how they developed it from the chassis up. So I think they did a great job. As far as all the other bikes that are now in the adventure category, the middleweight adventure bike category, you have some new stuff from Aprilia, Husqvarna. Now you have this. It's a great time to be in the middleweight adventure bike market, and I think we definitely have a contender with the new Ducati DesertX. If you're interested in more detail about this, if you want to check out the spec sheet, get some more pictures, detail images of the switch gears and everything like that, head on over to Motorcycle.com. I'll have the full write-up there, a little bit more digested thoughts. So if you want that nitty-gritty detail, I'll have it for you over there. Maintenance intervals, all that stuff. Thanks for checking out the video. If you liked it, like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys.